The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz. Picture this. You're sitting in a sales meeting, watching the vice president of marketing work the room with an energy that's absolutely electric. The place is packed with salespeople, all competent, all pulling in a respectable income. But the VP isn't here to celebrate respectable. He's here to blow some minds. He calls up a guy named Harry. And here's the thing about Harry. There's nothing extraordinary about him. He doesn't have movie star looks or wear designer suits. He's just Harry. The VP turns to the crowd with a grin. Take a good look at Harry here. Last year, most of you earned around $12,000. Harry? He pulled in just under $60,000. You could hear a pin drop. $60,000. That's 5 times what everyone else made. The VP lets that number hang there for a moment, then asks the question everyone's dying to know. So, what does Harry have that you don't? Is he 5 times smarter? He pauses. Nope, I checked his file. Intelligence tests show he's pretty average, actually. Another pause. Did he work 5 times harder? Not really. In fact, he took more vacation days than most of you. Better territory, better education, better health. The answer to everything is no. Harry is, by every measurable standard, completely average. So what's his secret? The VP asks, his voice dropping like he's sharing insider information. He looks at Harry, then back at the stunned audience. The difference is simple. Harry thought 5 times bigger. That one insight, that your success is determined by the size of your thinking, is at the heart of one of the most quietly revolutionary books ever written. We're talking over 6 million copies sold, and it's guided everyone from presidents to CEOs to world-class athletes. The author wasn't some self-help guru living on a mountaintop. Dr. David J. Schwartz was a down-to-earth professor who spent years studying a fascinating question. Why do some people soar while others, with identical intelligence and talent, just stay grounded? And what he discovered was this. It wasn't their luck, their circumstances, or their connections. It was all in their minds. Today, we're cracking open his playbook. I'm going to show you how to cure yourself of what he calls excusitis, the failure disease that quietly sabotages most people. And I'm going to give you practical, battle-tested tools to start thinking in a way that doesn't just change your mindset, but transforms your entire reality. This isn't about wishing for success. It's about building the mindset that makes success inevitable. Let's start with a simple question. Do you actually believe you can succeed? I don't mean hoping things work out. I mean a bone-deep, unshakable conviction. According to Dr. Schwartz, that belief acts like a thermostat, regulating everything you'll ever accomplish. It's not wishful thinking. It's the foundation of everything. He tells the story of a young woman who decided to start her own mobile home business. Everyone thought she was out of her mind. She only had $3,000 saved up, and people told her she needed way more capital. The market was brutal. She had 0 experience. And she listened to all of it. She knew she lacked money. She knew she lacked experience. She knew the competition was fierce. But then she said something that changed the entire game. I've studied this industry, and I know it's going to grow. I've studied my competition, and I know I can outperform anyone in this town. I'll make mistakes, sure, but I also expect to be on top fast. That absolute, unshakable belief was magnetic. It convinced investors to give her capital. It persuaded a manufacturer to give her inventory with no money down. Armed with nothing but total conviction, she did what everyone said was impossible. Last year, she sold over $1 million worth of trailers. So why does this work? Is it some kind of magic? Dr. Schwartz says no. It's a simple, powerful process. When you truly believe you can do something, your mind automatically starts figuring out how. The how always reveals itself to the person who believes. Belief that "I'm positive I can" attitude generates the power, skill, and energy you need to succeed. Think of your mind as a thought factory. Inside this factory, you've got two foremen, Mr. Triumph and Mr. Defeat. Mr. Triumph specializes in manufacturing positive, optimistic thoughts. He's brilliant at finding reasons why you can, why you're qualified, why you'll succeed. Mr. Defeat, on the other hand, cranks out negative thoughts. He's an expert at finding reasons why you can't, why you're weak, why everything's going to fall apart. Both foremen are incredibly obedient. The moment you signal them, they jump into action. Think to yourself, "Today's going to be rough." And boom, you've just activated Mr. Defeat. He immediately starts building evidence. It's too hot. Business will be slow. You'll probably feel terrible later. Within minutes, you're completely sold. It really is a rough day. But wake up thinking, "Today's going to be great," and you've activated Mr. Triumph. He gets to work immediately. The weather's perfect. It's good to be alive. You're going to crush it today. And suddenly, it actually is a great day. Here's the crucial part. The more work you give either foreman, the stronger he becomes. Keep calling on Mr. Defeat, and he'll hire more staff, expand his operations, until eventually, nearly all your thoughts are negative. The smart move? Fire Mr. Defeat. You don't need him whispering failure in your ear. Put Mr. Triumph in charge of your thought factory, 100% of the time. But if it's that simple, why doesn't everyone do it? This brings us to what Dr. Schwartz calls the great epidemic of the unsuccessful, a mind-deadening disease he calls excusitis. Excusitis is the excuse-maker's disease. Every person who's failed in life has a severe case. The more successful someone is, the less likely they are to make excuses. But people who've gone nowhere and plan to go nowhere, they've got a whole encyclopedia of reasons explaining why they haven't, why they don't, why they can't, and why they aren't. This disease shows up in 4 common but devastatingly effective forms. First up, health excusitis. This is the "my health isn't good" excuse. It ranges from vague "I just don't feel great" complaints to very specific ailments. Millions use their health as a reason for not pursuing what they want, not taking on responsibility, not achieving success. But think about this. President Franklin Roosevelt could have hidden behind his paralyzed legs. President Eisenhower could have used his heart attack as an excuse to slow down. They didn't. Success-minded people refuse to surrender to excuses. Schwartz tells a fascinating story about 2 men he met on the same afternoon. The first was around 30 years old. After hearing Schwartz speak, he approached him and said, "I'm afraid your ideas won't help me. I've got a bad heart, so I have to take it easy." Turns out he'd seen 4 different doctors, and none could find anything actually wrong. The second man was on a plane. A few minutes after takeoff, Schwartz heard this strange ticking sound. The guy smiled and said, "Oh, don't worry. It's not a bomb. It's my heart." Just 3 weeks earlier, he'd undergone surgery to install a plastic valve in his heart. When Schwartz asked what his plans were, the man replied with incredible enthusiasm, "Oh, I've got big plans. I'm going to study law when I get back to Minnesota. Someday I hope to work in government." One man, who wasn't even sure anything was wrong, was worried, depressed, heading toward defeat. The other, after one of the most serious operations imaginable, was optimistic and excited about life. The difference was entirely in how they thought about their situation. So how do you vaccinate yourself against health excusitis? Schwartz gives 4 doses. First, refuse to talk about your health. The more you talk about an ailment, even a common cold, the worse it gets. It's like fertilizing a weed. Second, refuse to worry about your health. Constantly looking for illness can actually produce it. Third, be genuinely grateful your health is as good as it is. There's an old saying, I felt sorry for myself because I had worn out shoes, until I met a man who had no feet. Fourth, remind yourself often, it's better to wear out than rust out. Life is yours to enjoy. Don't waste it thinking yourself into a hospital bed. The second form of excusitis is intelligence excusitis, the belief that I'm not smart enough. Maybe 95% of people suffer from this to some degree. Unlike other excuses, people usually suffer from this one silently, feeling it deep down. Most of us make two huge mistakes about intelligence. First, we underestimate our own brain power. Second, we overestimate everyone else's. Because of this, we sell ourselves short. We don't tackle challenging projects because we think it takes a genius. But here's what really matters. Not how much intelligence you have, but how you use what you've got. The thinking that guides your intelligence is far more important than the quantity of your brain power. Interest and enthusiasm are the critical factors. A person with an average IQ of 100 who has a positive, optimistic, cooperative attitude will earn more money, win more respect, and achieve more success than a negative person with an IQ of 120. Schwartz had a friend named Phil, a senior officer at a major advertising agency. Phil directed marketing research and earned a huge salary. Was Phil a brain? Far from it. He knew almost nothing about research techniques or statistics. He wasn't even a college graduate, though everyone working for him was. So what made Phil 3 times more valuable than people technically smarter than him? Phil was what Schwartz calls a human engineer. He was 100% positive. He could inspire others when they felt low. He generated enthusiasm. He understood people, and because he genuinely got what made them tick, he liked them. It wasn't Phil's brains, but how he managed those brains. That made him exceptional. How do you cure intelligence excusitis? First, never underestimate your intelligence, and never overestimate others. Concentrate on your assets, not your weaknesses. Remember, it's not how many brains you have that matters, but how you use them. Second, remind yourself several times daily, my attitudes are more important than my intelligence. Practice positive attitudes. See reasons why you can, not reasons why you can't. Third, remember that the ability to think creatively is far more valuable than the ability to memorize facts. Use your mind to create, develop ideas, find new and better ways. Ask yourself, am I using my mental ability to make history, or just recording the history others make? The third form is age excusitis, the failure disease of never being the right age. It comes in 2 flavors, I'm too old and I'm too young. The I'm too old variety is most common. People think their age is wrong, so they don't even try for what they truly want. Schwartz tells of a 40-year-old trainee named Cecil who wanted to start his own business but thought he was too old. After all, he said, I'd have to start from scratch. Schwartz tried the usual medicine, you're only as old as you feel, but it didn't work. Finally, he found a cure. He asked Cecil, when does a person's productive life begin? Cecil thought about it. About 20, I guess. Okay, and when does it end? Well, if someone stays in good shape, probably around 70. All right, so that's 50 productive years. You're 40. How many have you used? 20. And how many do you have left? 30. In other words, Schwartz concluded, you haven't even reached the halfway point. You've only used 40% of your productive years. Cecil got it. He was cured. He switched from thinking, I'm already old, to I'm still young. He realized it's not our age that matters, but our attitude toward it. The same goes for the I'm too young excuse. Youth is only a liability when young people think it is. If you know your job and understand people, you're mature enough. Demonstrate ability and positive attitudes, and your youth becomes an advantage. The fourth and final common form is luck excusitis, when people blame their problems on bad luck and credit others' success to good luck. But there's a cause for everything. Nothing just happens. Success results from preparation, planning, and success-producing thinking. What people call bad luck is usually just poor decisions or inaction. Mr. Success suffers a setback. He learns from it and profits. Mr. Mediocre suffers a setback and fails to learn. To conquer luck excusitis, do two things. First, accept the law of cause and effect. Take a closer look at what appears to be someone's good luck. You'll find it wasn't luck at all, but carefully planned work and patiently executed strategy. Second, don't be a wishful thinker. Don't waste mental energy dreaming of an effortless path to success. We don't become successful through luck. We become successful by doing the things and mastering the principles that produce success. Once you've vaccinated yourself against excusitis, the next step is building genuine, unshakable confidence. And that brings us to the most powerful antidote to fear ever discovered. What is it? One simple word: action. Schwartz tells a story from his time in the Navy during World War II. Non-swimming recruits were put into swimming classes. One exercise required them to jump from a 6-foot-high board into 8 feet of water. It was heartbreaking to see these young, healthy men absolutely terrified. But the instructors knew something profound. All that stood between those men and conquering their fear was one single drop into the water. Often, they'd accidentally get pushed off the board. The result? The moment they hit the water, the fear vanished. Action cured their fear. Indecision and postponement, on the other hand, fertilize fear. Think about it in your own life. When you face a tough problem, you stay stuck until you take action. Hope is a start, but hope needs action to win victories. Next time you experience fear, big or small, ask yourself, what action can I take to conquer this fear? Isolate your fear, then take appropriate action. If you're embarrassed by your appearance, don't just worry. Do something. Get a haircut. Shine your shoes. Practice better grooming. The action itself builds confidence. If you fear losing an important customer, don't just hope they stay. Work twice as hard to give better service. Correct anything that might have caused them to lose confidence. If you fear failing an exam, convert worry time into study time. Action is the ultimate cure. But there's another crucial component to building confidence: how you manage your memory. Your brain is like a bank. Every day, you make thought deposits in your mind bank. These deposits accumulate and become your memory. When you face a problem, you go to your memory bank and ask, what do I already know about this? The teller in your memory bank is incredibly reliable. He gives you exactly what you ask for. Walk up and say, Mr. Teller, let me withdraw thoughts proving I'm inferior. And he'll say, certainly, sir. Remember how you failed twice before? Remember what your 6th grade teacher said. Remember what you overheard your coworkers saying. On and on he goes, pulling out every negative deposit you've ever made. But approach him and say, Mr. Teller, I face a difficult decision. Can you give me thoughts that will reassure me? And he'll say, certainly, sir. And this time deliver thoughts of success. Remember the excellent job you did in that similar situation? Remember how much confidence Mr. Smith had in you. Remember what your good friends said. You choose which deposits to withdraw. To build confidence, do two things. First, Deposit only positive thoughts in your memory bank. Everyone encounters unpleasant situations. Unsuccessful people dwell on them. They become the last thing they think about at night. Successful people don't give it another thought. They specialize in putting positive memories in their bank. Just before sleep, count your blessings. Recall good things you saw people do. Recall your small victories. Second, withdraw only positive thoughts from your memory bank. Don't build mental monsters. When remembering situations, concentrate on the good parts and forget the bad. Refuse to recall unpleasant thoughts. Do this, and your confidence will skyrocket. So we've learned to build belief, cure excusitis, and build confidence through action and a positive mind bank. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter. How exactly do we think big? The first step is to stop selling yourself short. Most of us go through life thinking we're smaller than we really are. We see a job we'd love but think, I'm not good enough. We want to ask someone on a date but think they'd never say yes to me. We create long mental lists of our faults, shortcomings, inadequacies. But if we only know our negative characteristics, we're in serious trouble. Schwartz offers a simple exercise to measure your true size. First, determine your 5 chief assets: your education, experience, personality, initiative, appearance. Ask an objective friend to help. Second, under each asset, write the names of 3 people you know who've achieved great success but don't have that asset to the degree you do. When you finish, you'll discover something amazing. You outrank many successful people in at least one key area. The only honest conclusion is this: you're bigger than you think, so fit your thinking to your true size. The next tool for thinking big is developing a big thinker's vocabulary. This doesn't mean using complicated words. In fact, people who use difficult words are often small thinkers trying to look big. The important measure of your vocabulary is the effect your words have on your own thinking and others. We don't think in words, we think in pictures. When you speak or write, you're a movie projector, showing movies in people's minds. The pictures you create determine how you and others react. Tell a group, I'm sorry to report we've failed, and they see defeat and disappointment. Say instead, here's a new approach I think will work, and they see hope and feel encouraged. Say, we face a problem, and you create a picture of something difficult and unpleasant. Say, we face a challenge, and you create a picture of fun, sport, something exciting. Big thinkers specialize in creating positive, forward-looking, optimistic pictures. Use words and phrases that produce big, positive mental images. Practice this. When someone asks how you feel, don't say, I'm tired, or I have a headache. Say, wonderful, thanks, or great. Say it, and you'll start to feel it. Use bright, cheerful words to describe others. Compliment them. Use positive language to outline plans. Promise victory and watch eyes light up. Build castles. Don't dig graves. The third element of thinking big is seeing what can be, not just what is. Big thinkers train themselves to see something where little currently exists. Visualization adds value to everything. Schwartz shares the story of a highly successful real estate agent specializing in rundown rural properties. He said, I don't sell prospects a farm as it is. I develop my entire sales plan around what the farm can be. He'd spend days studying properties, then create detailed, comprehensive plans. One might be for a riding stable, another for a tree farm. He helped prospects see the farm transformed into a money-making proposition. People pay more for acreage and an idea than just acreage. Look at things not as they are, but as they can be. This applies to people too. The teacher who sees a child not as he is, perhaps ill-mannered or backward, but as he can be, gets results. Most people driving through rough neighborhoods see only broken-down souls. A few devoted people see reconstructed citizens, and because they see this, they succeed in rehabilitating them. It applies to yourself too. Your value isn't determined by what you have now. It's determined by how much you're planning to get. The price tag the world puts on you is almost identical to the one you put on yourself. Visualize yourself not as you are, but as you can be. This leads directly into the power of creative thinking. Creative thinking is simply finding new, improved ways to do anything. The rewards of all types of success hinge on finding ways to do things better. The first step in creative thinking is the same as in all success. Believe it can be done. When you believe something's impossible, your mind goes to work proving why. But when you believe, really believe, something can be done, your mind goes to work for you, helping you find ways to do it. Schwartz often used a powerful example in training sessions. He'd ask a group, how many feel it's possible to eliminate jails within 30 years? Invariably, people looked at him like he was crazy. You want to release all those murderers and thieves? We'd have chaos. We need more jails. After letting them prove why it was impossible, he'd say, okay, now for a few minutes, let's just try believing we can eliminate jails. Assuming we can, how could we begin? Suggestions came slowly at first. Well, you might cut crime if you established more youth centers. But soon, the group so solidly against the idea would start working up real enthusiasm. Work to eliminate poverty. Conduct research to spot potential criminals before they commit crimes. Educate law enforcement in positive reform methods. When you believe, your mind finds ways. Disbelief puts on the brakes. Belief releases your creative powers. To foster this belief, fight against creativity's biggest enemy, traditional thinking. This is the mindset reasoning. It's been this way for 100 years, so it must be good. Why risk a change? The traditional thinker's mind is paralyzed. To fight this paralysis, do 3 things. First, become receptive to new ideas. Welcome them. Destroy thought repellents like, it won't work, it can't be done, or, that's stupid. Second, be experimental. Break up fixed routines. Try new restaurants, read new books, take different routes to work. Third, be progressive, not regressive. Don't think, that's how we did it at my old job. Think, how can we do it better than we did it at my old job? Always look forward. Successful people live with the question, how can I do better? They know there's endless room for improvement. The successful person doesn't ask, can I do better? He knows he can. So he phrases it, how can I do it better? This simple shift, from can to how, switches on your creative power. Once you start thinking bigger and more creatively, protect that mindset by managing your environment. The mind reflects the environment it feeds on, just as surely as the body reflects the food you eat. Experts agree the person you are today, your personality, ambitions, status, is largely the result of your psychological environment. Prolonged association with negative people makes us think negatively. Close contact with petty individuals develops petty habits in us. But companionship with people who have big ideas raises our thinking level. Close contact with ambitious people gives us ambition. You have to recondition yourself for success. All of us, as children, set high goals. We plan to conquer the unknown, be leaders, become wealthy and famous. But what happened? Long before we could work toward those objectives, a multitude of suppressive influences went to work. From all sides we heard, it's foolish to be a dreamer. You've got to have money to get ahead. Luck determines who succeeds. As a result, most people fall into one of three groups. The first group has surrendered completely. They're convinced they don't have what it takes. They go to great lengths to rationalize their situation and explain how happy they are. The second group has surrendered partially. They start with hope, but after a decade or so, resistance builds. They decide greater success isn't worth the effort. Deep down, they know they've surrendered. The third group never surrenders. This group, maybe 2 or 3%, doesn't let pessimism dictate. They live and breathe success. To get and stay in this third group, fight off suppressive influences. Be extra cautious. Don't let negative thinking people, the negators, destroy your plan. They're everywhere, and they seem to delight in sabotaging others' positive progress. Make no mistake, you're judged by the company you keep. Birds of a feather flock together. Fellow workers aren't all alike. Some are negative, others positive. How we think is directly affected by our group. Be sure you're in the flock that thinks right. Schwartz offers a simple, powerful rule. Go first class. That's an excellent rule in everything you do. He tells of asking trainees to give examples of being, quote, penny-wise and pound-foolish. One said, "I bought a low-priced suit from a discount retailer. I thought I got a bargain, but the suit was simply no good." Another said, "My car needed a new transmission. I took it to a cheap garage that agreed to do it for $25 less than an authorized dealer. The new transmission lasted 1,800 miles." The simplest answer to "I can't afford to go first class" is that you can't afford to go any other way. In the long run, going first class actually costs less. It's better to have fewer things of high quality than many things that are junk. Better to have one really good pair of shoes than 3 pairs of second-rate ones. Develop an instinct for quality. It pays. Often it costs no more, sometimes less, than second class. As you cultivate this new thinking, make your attitudes your allies. How we think shows through in how we act. Attitudes are mirrors of the mind. Dr. Schwartz says you need 3 specific attitudes. First, the I'm activated attitude, enthusiasm. Enthusiasm can make things 1,100% better. An enthusiastic salesman never worries about unenthusiastic buyers. An enthusiastic teacher never worries about disinterested students. To activate others, you must first be enthusiastic yourself. How do you develop it? Dig deeper into things. Think of something you have little interest in, maybe a sport, music type, or school subject. Ask yourself, how much do I really know about this? Odds are, not much. To get enthusiastic about something, learn more about it. The second attitude is, you are important. This is paramount. Every human being, whether in India or Indiana, ignorant or brilliant, has a desire to feel important. The desire to be important is one of humanity's strongest, most compelling hungers. When you make others feel important, they do more for you. Think of someone serving you. A waiter, bus driver, store clerk. Treat them like they're important, with a sincere, "Good morning, sir," or "Thank you, I appreciate your help," and they'll go out of their way for you. It pays to make little people feel like big people. Here's the second giant reason. When you help others feel important, you help yourself feel important too. Practice appreciation. Make it a rule to let others know you appreciate what they do. Never let anyone feel taken for granted. Practice calling people by their names. Don't hog glory. Invest it. When you receive praise from a superior, pass that praise to your subordinates. It encourages even greater performance. The third attitude is the put service first attitude. People with a money first attitude become so money-conscious, they forget money can't be harvested unless they first plant seeds that grow money. The seed of money is service. Put service first, and money takes care of itself. Always give people more than they expect. Each little extra something you do is a money seed. Volunteering to work late to help the department is a money seed. Giving customers extra service brings them back. With these attitudes as your allies, you're ready for the final, most crucial step. Get the action habit. Thinking is important, but an idea acted upon and developed is 100% better than a terrific idea that dies because it isn't followed up. As you study people, they fall into two groups. The successful are active. We'll call them activationists. The unsuccessful are passive, passivationists. Mr. Activationist is a doer. He gets things done. Mr. Passivationist is a don'ter. He postpones doing things until it's too late. The difference shows everywhere. Mr. Activationist plans a vacation. He takes it. Mr. Passivationist plans a vacation but postpones it. Mr. Activationist wants to go into business for himself. He does. Mr. Passivationist also wants to but finds a good reason why he shouldn't. How do you become an activationist? First, don't wait until conditions are perfect. They never will be. Expect future obstacles and meet them as they arise. The test of a successful person isn't eliminating all problems before they arise, but meeting and solving them when they do. Second, remember, ideas alone won't bring success. They have value only when you act on them. A good idea, if not acted upon, produces terrible psychological pain, the pain of it might have been. Third, think in terms of now. The words tomorrow, next week, later, sometime are often synonyms for the failure word, never. Lots of good dreams never come true because we say, I'll start someday, when we should say, I'll start now. Finally, seize the initiative. Be a crusader. When you see something that ought to be done, pick up the ball and run. Be a volunteer. The person who volunteers stands out. He receives special attention. He gives himself an opportunity to show special ability and ambition. Of course, even when you act, you'll face setbacks. The difference between success and failure is found in one's attitude toward these disappointments. When a commercial airliner crashes, the Civil Aviation Administration is on the scene immediately. They don't just say, well, that's how it goes. They investigate, find the cause, and take immediate steps to prevent similar accidents. They study setbacks to pave the way to safer travel. You must do the same. When you lose, learn. Salvage something from every setback. To do this, have the courage to be your own constructive critic. Don't blame others. Be objective. See if you have a weakness you've never noticed. Then, take action to correct it. Being self-critical is constructive. Blaming others is destructive. Stop blaming luck. Research your setbacks. Find out what went wrong. Blaming luck never got anyone where they wanted to go. Finally, blend persistence with experimentation. Stay with your goal, but don't beat your head against a wall. If you aren't getting results, try a new approach. All of this, belief, action, overcoming fear, thinking big, is powerful, but without one final element, it's like a ship without a rudder. That element is goals. A goal is more than a dream. It's a dream being acted upon. Nothing happens, no forward steps are taken, until a goal is established. Without goals, we just wander through life. Just as a progressive corporation plans goals 10 to 15 years ahead, you must form an image now of the person you want to be 10 years from now. Dr. Schwartz advises visualizing your future in 3 departments: your work, your home, and your social life. For work, ask, what income level do I want? What level of responsibility do I seek? For home, ask, what standard of living do I want for my family? What kind of house do I want? For social life, ask, what kinds of friends do I want? What leadership positions would I like to hold? Write it down. Your life is too important to be left to chance. Don't be afraid to dream big. People today are measured by the size of their dreams. Once you set a goal, surrender to it. When you surrender to your goal, something amazing happens. The goal works itself into your subconscious mind and begins acting as your automatic pilot. It signals, do this, or don't do that. It won't help you get where you want to go. It keeps you on course. You achieve this goal one step at a time. The principle of the next mile is the only intelligent way to attain any big objective. A house is built one brick at a time. A football game is won one play at a time. Start marching toward your ultimate goal by making the next task you perform a step in the right direction. All these principles, when put together, forge you into a leader. To achieve the highest levels of success, you need others, support, and cooperation. That requires leadership. Schwartz boils leadership down to 4 rules. First, trade minds with people you want to influence. See things through their eyes. Before you act, ask yourself, what would I think of this if I exchanged places with the other person? Second, apply the be human rule. In every situation, ask yourself, what's the human way to handle this? So you put people first. Give them the treatment you'd like to receive. Third, think progress. Believe in progress. Push for progress. Think improvement in everything you do. Think high standards in everything. Subordinates tend to become carbon copies of their chief. Be sure the master copy is worth duplicating. Fourth, take time to confer with yourself. All great leaders, from Moses to Roosevelt, spent considerable time alone in solitude. They used that time to put problem pieces together, work out solutions, plan. In short, to do their superthinking. Spend some time alone every day just for thinking. In the end, the magic of thinking big isn't a trick. It's a conscious, deliberate choice. A choice to see yourself as bigger than you are, to see the world as full of possibility, and to act on that vision. It's a choice to stop making excuses and start making progress. It's a choice to believe, truly believe, you can succeed, and then to get to work. So what do we take away from a book written over 60 years ago? It's easy to look at a classic like The Magic of Thinking Big and wonder if its lessons still apply in our fast-paced digital world. But the reason this book has endured isn't because of its business strategies or specific examples. It's because Dr. David Schwartz wasn't writing about business. He was writing about human nature. The fears he describes, fear of failure, fear of what others think, fear of not being smart enough or young enough or old enough, are the same fears holding us back today. The excusitis he diagnosed is just as rampant in 2025 as it was in 1959. The most powerful lesson, for me, is the sheer simplicity and practicality of his advice. He doesn't ask you to have genius IQ or a privileged background. He just asks you to make a choice about how you're going to use your mind. Are you going to let Mr. Defeat run your mental factory, or put Mr. Triumph in charge? For someone just starting out, maybe a young person of 17 listening to this is the most liberating idea in the world. Your success isn't predetermined. It's a product of your thoughts. You have the power, right now, to start managing those thoughts in a way that serves you. If you were to take just 3 simple actions from this book starting today, I'd suggest these. First, become a front seater. Dr. Schwartz points out, that in any meeting or classroom, most people scramble for back rows so they won't be too conspicuous. They do this because they lack confidence. He says from now on, make it a rule to sit as close to the front as you can. Sure, you might be more conspicuous, but as he wisely notes, there's nothing inconspicuous about success. This small physical act starts rewiring your brain for confidence. Second, cure yourself of one form of excusitis. Pick just one of the 4 major types we talked about. Is it your health, your intelligence, your age, your luck? For 1 week, consciously refuse to use it as an excuse for anything. When you catch yourself about to say, I can't because... stop. You'll be amazed at how your mind, freed from its favorite excuse, starts finding ways to say, I can if. Third, practice conversation generosity. In your next conversation, make a conscious effort to encourage the other person to talk. Ask them questions about themselves, their views, their accomplishments. Listen more than you speak. As Schwartz says, you'll accomplish 2 things. You'll win a friend, and you'll learn something. This is the foundation of influence and leadership. That was a summary of The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz. We've touched on the main ideas today, but a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. It gives you the layout, but it can't give you the feeling of walking the streets, smelling the air, and meeting the people. The real transformation happens when you engage with the book yourself. This summary is a tool to help you decide if this journey is one you want to take. If these ideas have sparked something in you, I encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an experience that can fundamentally change how you view your own potential. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue exploring the wisdom found in the world's most life-changing books. Let's keep growing together.